Hello and welcome to my new series, Our Bizarre and Unusual World. My whole life I've been super interested in weird, unusual, or supernatural things. So that's what I'll be sharing with you throughout this series. Each episode will cover an unusual or weird topic. We have so many bizarre things in this world, I can't wait to dive in and talk about some of them with you guys. For this series, I will of course try to share both sides to every story and or topic we discuss. And of course, I will always love to hear your comments below. Today's first topic, we will start with Sasquatch and or Bigfoot. Growing up in the Pacific Northwest, Sasquatch is a very well-known creature within our many miles of forest. In this episode, we will be covering the who, what, when, where, why, and how of Sasquatch. Starting off, we will begin with what. What is Sasquatch or Bigfoot? Bigfoot is described as a large, hairy, ape-like creature similar to a yeti, and supposedly found in northwestern America and Canada. The term Sasquatch came from a teacher named J.W. Burns in the 1920s. It is believed to be a mispronunciation of a native term, from the stories tribes told of their encounters with the creature. Some of the translations are similar to wild man, hairy giant, and beast. Bigfoot does vary in myth and legend depending on different Native American tribes and beliefs. The general belief of the Bigfoot legend describes a very large, hairy animal with great strength, foul odor, not speaking but instead communicating with grunts, whistles, or tapping on trees. From there, the legends truly vary. On one side, you have Bigfoot as a very shy creature that lives away from humans and would never harm anyone. In those beliefs, Bigfoot is described as a guardian of the forest or the tribe. On the other side of things, we have Bigfoot described as a scary monster that may attack humans, scare people, steal women and children, and sometimes even eat people. Yuck. Now we move on to the where of Sasquatch. Clearly, I've already stated that in the Pacific Northwest, Sasquatch is a very well-known creature and legend. So that's going to include Washington, Idaho, Oregon, and parts of Canada. Bigfoot sightings, of course, expand across the country as well. Some popular areas for Bigfoot sightings include Florida, where it is referred to as the skunk ape, as well as Northern California, Ohio, Texas, and parts of New York. Being as it's said that these creatures hide away in nature, it's safe to say that most of the sightings come from heavily wooded areas. You're not really going to hear about many Bigfoot sightings in a big city. Now we move on to the who of Bigfoot. For this section, we're going to be talking about some of the Bigfoot researchers, believers, some of their thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. Most of you have probably heard or seen different Bigfoot documentaries or TV shows. A popular show was Finding Bigfoot on the Animal Planet. I did watch the earlier seasons of it, but really it got a little ridiculous for me and I had to stop watching. Almost every episode they would claim to hear or find evidence of a Sasquatch. Very similar to the paranormal ghost shows, where of course they have to find something or the ratings go down. I really just couldn't handle the, hey, did you hear that? I think it was a squatch. But how do you know? I don't. It kind of sounds like a squirrel. No. It's a Sasquatch. I know for a fact. Perhaps that's a bad example for you on Bigfoot researchers. I'd like to share some quotes with you from some very famous Bigfoot researchers, professors, and people that have dedicated their life to the subject. Acclaimed researcher Peter Burns says, "Ideally, you could walk toward it and holding your hand out, shout, 'Good morning.' I wouldn't want to hurt it, you know. I'd simply like to communicate. If I could do that, it would be the fulfillment of dreams, of hopes, the culmination of a life's work." Well-known Bigfoot researcher Renee DeHenden says, "Some people say that Sasquatch to them is just a mythological creature. Nothing to do. It's not a real creature, flesh and blood. If the creature is a mythological creature, the mythology has to come from someplace. It doesn't just pop out of a Kellogg's cornflakes box." Canadian journalist and Bigfoot researcher John Green says, "You've got two facts that cannot be in any way challenged. Something makes huge, somewhat human-like footprints, and it should be possible to find out what that something is. And also, all over the world and throughout history there have been, very much so at the present time, people have described seeing these very large, hair-covered animals. The fact that there are all these people that tell this experience also cannot be challenged. These people exist, and that also must have some sort of explanation. Professor of the Department of Anthropology at Idaho State University, Jeff Meldrum says, "Given the scientific evidence that I have examined, I'm convinced there's a creature out there that is yet to be identified." Now we move on to the when of Bigfoot. When we think to the myth and legend of Sasquatch, we really have to think back to the Native American tribes and their stories and tales that have been passed down for hundreds of years about this hairy, large creature. However, the most discussed and debated Bigfoot sighting happened in 1967. It is known as the Patterson film. This footage was shot alongside Bluff Creek, California by Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin. Anyone that knows anything about Sasquatch knows about the Patterson film. This footage is used heavily on both sides of the debate. Is Bigfoot real or simply a hoax? The believers use this as concrete evidence that Sasquatch does exist and that this particular Bigfoot was a female caught on film. They have discussed muscle movement within the creature, height of the creature, stride of its steps, and length of its arms. The people on the other side say that it is just a person in a monkey costume and that is the most talked about hoax in all of history. Roger Patterson claimed that the creature within the footage was completely real and nothing was a hoax. He claimed this all the way up until his death in 1972. Bob Gimlin also denied any sort of hoax and for a really long time refused to publicly talk about what he experienced that day. It wasn't until about 2005 when he started making public speeches and accounts of what he witnessed that day. It is truly constantly debated and dissected within the Bigfoot community, and to this day still remains the best piece of video evidence of the Sasquatch. Whether that proves that it's real or a hoax is up to you. Now we move on to our final category of how. Now, as I said, I'm going to be giving both sides to this, but the biggest question a lot of people have with Sasquatch is how. How does it exist around us, and how has it lived for so many years with lack of evidence? That really is the biggest question. With such a large creature, wouldn't we have more scientific evidence of its existence? Or perhaps their intelligence level is much higher than we give them credit for. Let's look at the apes we know of today. They are incredibly smart and adaptable creatures. Perhaps Bigfoot shares these same traits, and that's why they've stayed hidden for so long. Was the Patterson film fake? Was it simply a hoax? Or does that video evidence prove that there are creatures living around us? If there are Bigfoots living around us, why have we never found any remains, bones, or more scientific evidence? Are they a more adapted species that they would perhaps bury their dead similar to humans, therefore making it more difficult for evidence to be found? So many hoaxes surround the media, the internet, and Bigfoot hunters. Does that perhaps overshadow the real evidence of Sasquatch? Or does it simply prove that Sasquatch is nothing but a hoax? So many questions! I hope you've enjoyed my first episode of our bizarre and unusual world, and perhaps you learned something new about Bigfoot. So what do you think? Does Sasquatch really exist out hidden in the woods around us? Or is it nothing but a legend? Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't wait to continue this series. If you have any topics you would like to see in a future episode of this series, please let me know. You can comment, message me, social media me, whatever works best for you. Be sure to give this video a big like if you learned something new or you like Bigfoot. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!